let's get into some team needs now for the Dallas Cowboys. These are updated after free agency, the moves that have been made so far. At number 1 for me, and still is, defensive tackle. Yes, you tendered David Irving. I like Malik Collins. He is a 3 technique through and through. Dallas made him into a nose guard last year. It did not work. In reality, the Cowboys lack a 1 technique right now. They have Brian Price, who I like as a backup. Same with Richard Ash. Lewis Neal, I don't know if he's going to amount to anything. So if you're the Cowboys, I am looking hard at a 1 technique. I am still aboard the Vita Vea train. If he's on the board for at number 19, I would love it if Dallas took him. Next up, linebacker. Anthony Hitchens, he got paid way too much money by the Chiefs. Kyle Wilber has gone to the Oakland Raiders. They did sign Joe Thomas. No, not that one, the former Packers linebacker. But they still lack depth behind Sean Lee and Jalen Smith. Joe Thomas can be a special teams guy. Maybe he's your number 4, but if Smith or Lee get hurt, you do not want Thomas or Wilson starting. I think you'll see Dallas add an early round pick, if not multiple picks this year, at the linebacker spot. Let's get to safety now. Well, you guys know how I feel about Jeff Heath. I don't think he's a starter. I think he's a nice number 3 safety. You're going to move Byron Jones to cornerback. I like Xavier Woods. He has played out of position at slot cornerback, though. So as of right now, the safety depth chart looks like Jeff Heath, Xavier Woods, and Kevon Frazier. That's not a great look as far as I'm concerned. I would love to get an impact guy. I know a lot of you guys like Derwin James. He could be a trade-up candidate this year for the Dallas Cowboys. Today's show is brought to you by The Guild. Visit stayguild.com for 15% off your next stay at the best luxury buildings around the world. Let's get to number 4 now in terms of needs. I just kind of merged tackle and guard because I didn't know if Collins is going to be your guard or your right tackle. Either way, it is still a need for Dallas, even after the signing of Cameron Fleming. Let's start at tackle. Let's say you roll into the year with Tyron Smith, Cam Fleming, and Chaz Green as your tackles. I don't think you want Chaz Green back as your swing tackle. That's not a good idea. So let's go ahead and add another swing tackle. If you keep Collins at tackle, Fleming is your swing guy, but then at guard, all of a sudden you have a need here. So you have Zach Martin, you have Lael Collins at guard, and we'll get that graphic here pulled up here in just a second as well. You have Marcus Martin as your Joe Looney center/guard backup. If Collins stays at tackle, you need a new left guard. I think that could come early in the draft. As the roster sits right now, I think Zach Martin, Collins, Frederick, Fleming, and Smith is actually a pretty solid lineup there, but you do need more depth at the very least. Number 5, as we get to some of the backup needs here, tight end. Jason Witten is aging. I'm actually very surprised that James Hanna has not been cut yet. Jeff Swaim is a mediocre backup. Rico Gathers, I don't know if the staff loves him, but I think he's going to get a shot this year. I think you'll know how much the staff trusts Rico based on what they do at tight end. If they spend an early pick at tight end, means they don't trust Rico. You've also got Blake Jarwin. I do think you'll see Hanna cut. I just don't really know when, because I'm surprised it hasn't already happened, because he's making too much money to catch 4 passes a year. Doesn't make sense. Defensive end is number 6. That's still a need in terms of depth. Again, as you get deeper along here, these are more depth needs, not immediate, oh my God, you have to get a starter need. The Cowboys kept DeMarcus Lawrence on the franchise tag. They cut Benson Mayowa. Now your depth chart consists of DeMarcus Lawrence, Tyrone Crawford, Taco Charlton, then Charles Tapper, Dante Jones. I would expect you'll see Dallas spend a maybe mid to late round pick on another defensive end. Not pictured is Randy Gregory. He's not on the roster yet. He could try and apply for reinstatement. If he does, well, you treat him as a luxury, not as a player you're banking on, because, well, why would you trust Randy Gregory quite yet? Number 7 is running back. Yes, you have Ezekiel Elliott. He is the star. He is the focal point. You're probably not going to bring back Alfred Morris. I like Rod Smith, but I think you can get by with him as a number 3, so I would like Dallas to go get a younger back in the draft. And with the way that the depth chart sits right now, you got to bring somebody else in. You don't want to have just Zeke and Rod Smith and Trey Williams. Go spend a mid-late round pick, maybe one of those 4th rounders, on an undersized scat back type to fit that Lance Dunbar mold, although he should bring more in the running game than Dunbar ever did. Today's show is brought to you by The Guild. Visit stayguild.com. Use promo code ChatSports for 15% off your stay. Think of it as like a luxury Airbnb. At number 8 on our needs, it is wide receiver. I do think it's still a need, but it's definitely one of the lesser ones. If the Cowboys have less than 10 picks, they make some moves. They might not take a wide receiver at all. Dez Bryant, I think, should be back. Allen Hurns, Deontay Thompson joined the team. But again, you look at the wide receiver depth chart, I think you're going to see some moves made here in terms of getting rid of guys. Dez Hurns, I think, will stay. You signed Thompson to a deal that I didn't like. You have T. Will and Cole Beasley, but then you've also got Ryan Switzer and Noah Brown. Someone's going to be on the moves there. I think it's going to be Cole Beasley or Terrence Williams, but I think the Cowboys will try and trade those guys before they cut somebody. Again, they cannot cut T. Will. Contract doesn't make any sense to do so. And then the last need for the Cowboys, and again, need in quotes here, it's cornerback. Chidobe Awuzie, Jordan Lewis, Anthony Brown, well, they are all back. Byron Jones is going to play corner this year. I like Marquez White. He could be your number 5 guy. If the Dallas Cowboys add a corner, it's going to be a late-round selection to compete with Marquez White at the number 5 cornerback spot. Jones is in the last year of his deal if the Cowboys do not pick up his option. But as of right now, this is a promising young cornerback group. So to recap, here are the Cowboys team needs if you missed anything here and you joined in a little bit late. Defensive tackle, linebacker, safety, and then I group tackle and guard together depending on where Collins ends up playing and if Fleming is a starting tackle or a swing tackle. And then kind of your backup needs, tight end, defensive end, running back, wide receiver, and cornerback. I do want to know from you guys, though. Do you agree with me? Is the team's biggest need at DT, or do you want a linebacker or another offensive lineman? Or maybe you still want a receiver? Let me know in the comments section. I think it's DT because as of right now, you don't have a guy that you can start at that spot at one technique. All the other places, though, you have a starter, at least in terms of starting, maybe not so much on the depth side of things.